Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Molweni.
Afternoon, Susie.
Hello, Susie.
Molweni. Hi, Lindiwe. Hi, Lindiwe. Is that you?
It's me, Susie.
Thank you so much for joining. So the time is 3 o'clock, in fact, 4 minutes past. So I thought I was going to wait for everyone to join in before I start. So I'm going to start. So what I'll do is, let me just do this. Quickly. All right. All right, so Molweni, I see everyone is in and we're going to start. So before we start, I just want to have an idea of who's in the room in terms of what are you currently doing, or what did you study? What kind of job are you looking for? And also, what are you looking at in terms of what kind of skills that do you think you have or do you think you need to improve on? Just 2 minutes for me to get my pen because I thought it was here, but my son's removed it. Just 2 seconds. I'm gonna just wait for somebody else to join in and then we start. All right, so I need to know, so the first person can start. Please introduce yourself and then please let me know who are you and what kind of a job are you looking for and how long have you been out of employment, and I'll ask questions before I give you guys a presentation or notes. Anyone can start. Anyone can start. Don't be shy, guys. Please do not be shy. All right, Lindy. All right. So we kind of mentioned this before. We invited people who are unemployed, so that it's easy for you guys to communicate, and also for me to know at least what kind of advice to give you. So who is willing to go first? Introduce yourself and what kind of a job are you looking for? And I'll ask you questions as we go along.
Hi, Susie.
Yes.
My name is Lindy with job from Katu in the Northern Cape.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm unemployed. I have a BA, a communications and marketing degree. I don't know whether to classify myself as unemployed or employed because there are part-time jobs that I do. Yes, I assist contractors with their social performance job.
Okay.
It's dealing with the community study. So if they need me, they book me in maybe for a week or two, and then I charge them per hour.
Okay. Oh, you charge them per hour?
Yeah.
Oh, so you kind of a bit self-employed, or you almost work like a consultant type as well?
Yes.
Okay. So if you
I'm not permanently employed.
Oh, okay. So do you want to be employed or do you want to expand on what you're currently doing?
At first, I wanted to be employed, but since I'm doing the job that I'm doing, I think I want to expand in this business field.
Okay.
Yeah, because you should remember I'm dealing with the
Linda, you went off. So I think your mic or your network just closed you down. Can I ask somebody else to also introduce themselves? I've got you, Lindy, and I kind of know what you want to do. Another person?
Hi, Sis V.
Yes, Mama.
It's Sulezi speaking.
Hi, Sue.
Hi. So I just recently got unemployed about 2 months ago.
Okay.
I studied tourism management. So I've got a diploma there, and then currently I'm about to complete, this is my last semester, we BA in development studies. So currently I'm looking at the tourism industry, but also on the development side, because maybe like project management and research jobs. That's what I'm looking for. Also in the tourism industry, I'm looking maybe at travel agents and travel services. So I have been applying. I did update my profile on LinkedIn. And also I was offline from Facebook and everything, but recently since I got unemployed, I just went back because I'm searching, actively looking for a job.
Sure. And so, Sue, where are you based?
I'm based in East London. Sis.
Okay. Next person. Another person can talk. Izani, guys, Izani. Because I need to know that I'm giving the correct advice so that I know what everyone is doing. So please introduce yourself, what you do or what you studied, and the kind of job that you're looking for. Nozuko, is that you? You can talk, Mama. You can just unmute and then talk.
Hi, sis.
Hi, Sisi. Hi, Nozuko.
Niphilile.
Iphilile njani wena?
Niphilile nami Nkosi.
Yes, Mama.
Ndizaqale ndimamele sis.
Imake, ndifuna ukwazi kuqala ukuba abantu bafuna umsebenzi
onke. NdinguNozuko sisi, ndingowaseBizana ngokuzalwa, but ndihlala eDurban.
Okay.
Andiphangeli at the moment. Ndandiphangela kwa-Unilever kusukela ngo-2003 up until 2016. I started as a learner, production learner, and then 2003 and then 2004 I was employed permanently.
Okay.
And then ndasebenza khona up until 2016. I resigned because there was no more growth. There was no growth at all. Ndandisenza umsebenzi oyi-one. Kungasakhuli. And then I went back to school with TVET college. Ndenza financial management.
Okay.
Ufanele ndigqibe last year ngoJune, but ngenxa ye-COVID ngo-2020 because ndiphindele esikoleni 2020 January. Ufanele ndigqibe last year because by 18 months in the class with TVET and then 18 months for in-service training. But ngenda complete last year December. And the guy for my in-service training, I'm still looking. Mostly ndichanwa into yobana for in-service training idla ngoba ifundwe ngama-SETAs. Problem, SETAs zifunda abantwana from 18 years up to 35. So I'm above that age. I'm 41 years old.
Okay.
So I also one daily register at Oxbridge Academy, ndenza i-occupational health and safety. Ndisahleli ke sisa ndikaphangela ndikafumani into ndiyafaka but andikafumani into.
You might get, so when say financial management activities.
Financial management ndidinga in-service training for yona ngoku so that ndizawukwazi uba ndikwazi uba ndifumane idiploma yam, because ifuna kube 18 months eklasini, kube 18 months on job experience, and then bese ukwazi uba kudibane na 3 years uba ufumane idiploma.
So igqibile 18 years eklasini.
Ndigqibe ngoDisemba sis 2021.
In-service training.
In-service training 18 months, ewe sis.
Okay. And then uyenza occupational, then occupational then?
Occupational health and safety, yes.
Yona uyenza phi?
Ndiyenze Oxbridge Academy. Nayo sendigqibile.
Uyenza after financial management.
Ewe sisi ngexesha ndisahleliyo khona iba zii-assignments, because bayakuposela ii-modules zakho. There's 5 modules base-Cape Town. Bayakuposela ii-modules, wenze assignments, you submit, bayimakhe, and then give you ilokhuzana. Yes.
All right. Okay. I'll ask you more questions later, Beba.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go on. Another person?
Yes.
Molweni,
Hi.
ngumina ntlela uthethayo.
Hi, Sisi.
Mna, I've been unemployed for the past 7 months. So matric. So indawo ndaqala usebenza kuyo kuse-Grand West Casino for 2 years. Ndaba yi-lab assistant kwa-NCA for yayi-NGO. Then last year ndafumana i-contract kwa-health as i-admin intern. So after loo nto ke kwathiwa iphela i-contract akube sihleli, but ndiyafaka ndikhe ndibizwa nakwi-interviews. Bendisanduya e-Deputy Chief Justice. Ndisalinde apho ke uba ndihambe njani.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. Another person? No other person. Okay, no other person. So what I wanted to say, which I'm hoping is going to assist you guys in terms of your job searching. And please allow me to be as candid as possible, right? Because it's even better in terms of getting the next thing. So for starters, when you're given an opportunity to ask questions or to have direct conversations like we're doing now, please take those opportunities, because it's going to give you a chance to practice communicating, and also it's going to give you a chance to speak out what is in your mind, so that you're able to filter your thoughts and be able to share what you need and what you want. And this is a skill that you're going to need when you are in your work environment, as a start. So briefly, what I wanted to talk about is that one of the things that you must be mindful of is that what we call a career development. And then we job hop from one job to another. Sometimes we do the job hopping with absolutely no clear direction in place in terms of what is this job that I'm doing now going to give me in terms of career development. And if I leave this job to my next job, how are they going to link together with my ideal career development? Career development, as an example, means I want to be a marketing person one day. or I want to be a well-known, highly skilled marketing person one day. And then your career development process then will start from you saying, okay, currently I'm in the ideal jobs that I want. So the kind of job that I have right now is an admin role in a particular company. And if this admin role does not allow me to do much except to handle admin or paperwork or office admin in this particular job. So when you have an idea of what type of career you want to develop for yourself, you take that admin role, you get into the company, you then look at how you can plug yourself in terms of, does this company have a marketing department? Does this company have a public relations department, which is linked to my ideal goal? So what I'm trying to say, first thing that you must do, be clear about your career development or the vision that you have for yourself. Even if it means somewhere, but have an understanding of, okay, this is what I want to achieve with myself. So if I share music, someone is going to say, but the job market might not allow me to have my ideal job, but that's okay. The thing that you need the most when as a person is to be clear about the kind of career that you want to build for yourself. That clarity is going to assist you in terms of being aware, and also it's going to assist you in terms of what you go after and what you do when you get a particular job. So that's the first thing that I want to say. So build an idea of the career that is going to be comfortable for you, or have a clear understanding of your career development path, where you're going to start, what you're going to achieve, and where it's going to land you, so that it makes it easy for you to do things. The other things that I want to say is that your confidence is going to be your biggest motivation and your biggest currency and your biggest negotiating tool. So a lot of the time, you might find that a company requires a particular type of a skill that you might not have. But what you might have the most is confidence and the willingness to say, I'm going to take this role and I'm going to work on it. And sometimes it's things that we can easily do, but or we can learn on the role, and it might not be too much in terms of us learning how to do them. But our confidence can sometimes get in the way, and that lack of confidence can crush any ability for us to see ourselves achieving something higher. An example of around confidence is like we are doing now. When someone says, who needs to say something, who needs to speak out, when you take the opportunity to talk, it shows a willingness to practice confidence, because by so doing, you're putting yourself on the spot, you're allowing eyes on you, you're allowing yourself to make mistakes, and you're allowing yourself to sound weird, because sometimes lack of confidence, because we're afraid to make a mistake in terms of how we sound, how we articulate words, and how we show up. But you have to practice confidence, because it's one of the things that you just have to practice. Even if now you must practice it. When you are job hopping, it can be simple as having the confidence to reach out to someone. For an example, if you have a LinkedIn account, your practice of confidence can mean you inboxing potential recruitment people to ask, how do you receive CVs and how do you handle recruitment for this particular field, and what requirements do you have? If you don't have the confidence, you will not approach that person, because you will feel like you're not there, or you won't feel like you have the ability to do so. But when you job hunting, you need to have the confidence to reach out to people. So that's the other thing. And then I wanted to say also, confidence is linked to a belief in yourself. And sometimes that belief in yourself can stem from a willingness to admit what you know and what you don't know, and also a willingness to ask for help, so that you're able to put yourself. So I'll make an example. One of the things for Unozuko that would be a thing for potential employers would be like, so you left, so you need to kind of explain this for yourself in your mind so that you know how to communicate about your history in employment. For example, you left a job, you resigned from a job because it was not growing you anymore, and then you went to school, so that is a good thing. Except when you got to school, you studied for 18 months, and then you had to look for practical work, and then you took on another course, and you're still looking for practical work even in that one. So what you have done unintentionally is that you have collected, this is something that South Africans do, we collect certifications, we collect them, and we don't do anything around the practical side of those certifications. It's something that we do, and I don't want to say it's a culture, but it's not a culture. It's part of our history where we just collect certifications. So the challenge that you have now is that you're going to have certifications, but no practical experience for those certifications. So Nozuko, one of the things that you will need to do is to be very practical about looking for the practical classes for your financial management. And sometimes the way that we look for practical, to take practical, what's that English word for it? Listen, in service training, you need to approach companies and not wait for companies to have open jobs. Approach companies and say, do you know Zuko? I've done financial management and need practical in-service training. Can you give me 18 months? And then find out, like intentionally ask companies if they have internships or stipends so that at least it covers your transportation from one point to the other. Because what you don't want to do is wait for a salary, you don't get a salary, and you sit with a certification that is half done. That's going to get you. So knock at companies, email companies, inbox companies on LinkedIn in terms of recruitment managers, and ask for in-service training, and explain and motivate why it's important for you. Don't wait for jobs to come, because that's not going to happen. And in most cases, because of COVID as well, a lot of companies are sitting on roles because they're not sure whether to go the hybrid route or in person, and most of the time they're battling to figure out how should we even position this job. So when they find someone who's enthusiastic enough to ask them first, it makes their job a little bit more easy. So they're able to then say, okay, fine, we do have a job or we don't. Then the worst thing that can happen to you is them saying no, which is not the worst, because it gives you an indication of it, there's no role there, and it allows you to move to the next round. So Snozuko, do the work of approaching companies. Ne? And then what I would also be interested in is like, why are you doing the occupational safety, and how does it link to your first course in terms of financial management? Because also you don't want to be that person who does random courses or random certifications. They need to speak to your career development plan. Also, age-wise, I'm sorry for me to say this, but when you're in your mid-40s, companies look at your CV in the whole file of your life in the working space, and then they ask themselves, if you've been doing all of these random courses all along, what are you going to give to us as a company? Because then we don't know how to place you. We don't know where your strengths might lie, and we don't know what's going to make sense to you, and we don't know if you're going to stay, or again, you're going to chop and go and find something that's interesting. So companies look at that as well. So what you want to be able to do as a motivation when you have sitting in interviews to say, I've done financial management, and I'm doing in-service training because I want to close it off. And then if you're looking into occupational safety, how does it link together? You then need to have a motivation or a response for that that's going to make sense. If you have any questions, you also go online because I want to make this as practical as possible. And then for so you just left the job market. What I'm going to say to you is that you are undermining your network. You know me, and I've been looking for jobs left, right, and center, and you're not using the networks. So utilize your networks more. When you get onto LinkedIn, update your profile, but then stay active online so that you're able to look at your older colleagues, what they're doing now and which companies they're at, and keep in touch with them, because when they have when their companies have vacancies, you need to be able to knock at their doors. Also, in your case, because you have experience for tourism, you need to figure out what kind of skills did you learn from the tourism sector that you can apply in other industries, because you don't want to lock yourself in one tourism, because around tourism, it's a level cool, and sometimes it's difficult to get jobs in there. But you've learned certain things like organizational skills, perhaps, or admin skills, or just events management skills, depending on what you're doing. Find the skills and then package yourself in a particular way so that when you source jobs in new companies, you are able to present your skills set, not necessarily like you are working in the tourism industry. I hope that's making sense, Nesu. And then Sue, since you've done also EPA in development studies, please look for companies that excel in that and stock them. That's the other thing that I wanted to say to you guys. When you are clear about your career development, or at least you know what you want to achieve, it makes it easy for you to look for companies that speak to that. And then you stock them. And by stocking them, I mean find their websites, find out how they do their recruitment. Do they have an internal HR person, or do they have an HR company, or an agency, a recruitment agency that handles their recruitment processes, or do they have an HR manager, or do they just plug their stuff on their website only, or do they plug their vacancies on LinkedIn as well? So find those companies, create a list for yourself, and then stock them, because most companies, when they have new vacancies, they upload them on their website as well. So that's going to be a thing for you as well, Sue. And then find people that are in the same field and find out to go to Basebenza and follow them, and also be open to asking them for advice in a way that's going to be professional, of course, because then you need to grow a network. And then ask yourself, what can you bring into a company? Like what skill set and what personality, what character, what value will you be bringing into a company? It comes in handy when they ask you that question, so that you know that you are bringing them value more than anything else. And then for Minentle, matric, labors assistant, health and admin. So the one thing, the one thing is that how did I treat my previous jobs? How did I treat my previous jobs? In most companies, when doing your job well, they either keep you or they help you to find another role within the company. But when we are not good stewards of the roles that we are given at work, they are happy to let us go. They are happy to let us go. So in the next role that you have, please find a way to educate yourself. Because when you just have matric, then it becomes not enough. And now your confidence will not rise up to that level. When you get your next job, educate yourself. And by educating yourself, I mean, ask the companies if they don't have an education department that you can plug yourself in, or find out what speaks to your heart in terms of your interests and your career also. And then plug yourselves, go UNISA, so that you can get a proper qualification. Most companies will appreciate the fact that you are doing something, even if the fact that you have enrolled in a particular institution of education, it means that you mean business for you. Then it means also you take yourself serious as well. So even while you are still looking for a job, find a way to apply, and then use that as a motivation when you're looking for jobs, to say, I have matric, I have admin experience, but I've also applied at this institution, so that I'm able to improve myself. Even if you have just applied in about 30 and you need to have this trust that isn't and you use that as motivation to say, but I've applied at this particular place. Now I need, this is how I got most of my jobs. I would say I have applied, and in most cases I would have applied. And there was one, I was doing public relations in Cape Town. I had no money to pay for it in that particular month, but I was going for interviews. So when I applied for that particular course, I went to the admin officer. I found confidence somewhere, and I said to them, listen, I need to do this course because it's going to be great for my CV and also for my career projection. I don't have cash currently right now, but I am doing interviews, and I showed them proof of me going for interviews. And I was able to pay for that course, I think, months after I was allowed in the course, mainly because I then got my first job. So sometimes you have to be that person who's your biggest cheerleader, so that you're able to constantly challenge yourself to do something that is different in terms of how you tackle seeking a job. So those are the 3 people. Oh, Lindiwe, in your case, I do think that you need to focus on entrepreneurial development, because already you have a skill that you are selling and you've been charged for it. What you also need to do, Lindiwe, find out if the way that you're pricing for your service is not low, because sometimes we do that in the entrepreneurship space, more so as females. So check your pricing, check your competition in terms of the same field that you're at, and find out if you're not undercharging, and also find out what else can you do, or what other services can you provide in the to the companies that you are servicing, because also that could be a way of you growing in what you do. And I know also your team could, so you'll be fine. In the long run, you'll be fine. But I do want us to talk more about entrepreneurial development, and because we are in this space, I'm gonna talk. I think also, Lindiwe, use me as a resource, because as much as we are doing team coaching and we're still in a training process, but my passion is assist people to grow in businesses. And you can be a team coach and grow as a business, and also you can do your own job on the side, your own business on the side, because those two, they don't have to clash, because they're completely 2 different things. That way you grow as a person as well. Necessary.
Thanks, Izzy. Thanks. We'll talk on that.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. And the other thing that I wanted to say, guys, is that be mindful of the challenge about desperate when you're looking for a job. Sometimes when we've been out of a job for the longest time, we become highly panicked, depressed, sad, and then we become desperate. The problem with desperation is that it causes you to panic. And when you panic, you make silly mistakes. I'll make an example. When you panic and when you need a job, like yesterday, I find that people forward a CV without cleaning up the email, where you just forward a CV, there's no header, there's no greeting, there's no salutation, there's no contact numbers, because you were panicking when you were sending that email. So what I'm asking you to do, it's okay for you to be aware that you do need a job yesterday, but find a way to calm yourself down when you're sending your CVs across, because if you don't do so, you're going to panic and you're going to make a lot of unnecessary mistakes. One of my pet hates personally when I'm receiving CVs is someone who forwarded a CV from a job that they are applying for, with every greeting from that particular job, not cleaned out, and no phone numbers and no greetings and nothing. I don't like such things, because it means you're not paying attention to my type of job, and my fear is that when I employ you, you will not pay attention. You continue in that space of not paying attention to detail. So I need you to clean it up. So when you're applying, make sure that you personalize your emails. Make sure that you write a short motivation that's in line with the job that you're applying for. And then below, write your full name plus your contact number. Please do not use shorthand. Please do not be over familiar. Don't say dear Tanda. Don't say Tanda Samnan's email. Like, even if you know me from Facebook, don't do those things. Even if you know the HR person as someone who grew up in your community, not be amazi, guys. Even if you know them, please do not be over familiar. Please address them professionally. write your wording professionally, include your name and your number in a clean way, and then attach your CV. That's nicely done. When it comes to CVs, I know that companies, or I know there's a lot of CV revamps that are being done. If you can afford to revamp your CV, do so, but if you can't afford it, a clean black and white 2-pager CV is also perfectly okay. I think a lot of employers understand that people are looking for jobs. As long as it's clean and you can see what you've done, that's okay as a start. And then when you do have money, you can revamp it later on, so that you don't put yourself under pressure. That's the other one. And then the other one, please clean up your social media profiles, guys. Clean them up, clean them up. When you're job hunting, we do look at your social media platforms, all of them, Twitter, Instagram, social media, Facebook, we check everything, guys. And you'd be amazed that even just searching your name, Google, all of your social media posts your Facebook posts can come up as well. They can come up. So the best thing that you can do though is clean your social media. So what people do is they tend to have a blank social media profile, as blank as in you delete your profile pic and you then close everything off. That's not going to help you as well, because I need to know I need to know how do you carry yourself online. And if your profile is completely blank and completely unreadable, then I don't know who you are. And I know this doesn't apply for all the jobs. Not all the jobs look at this thing this way, but I know some do. So clean up. Make sure if you're job hunting that your full name is showing on your profile, on your platforms, and then make sure that you've got a pleasant profile picture. If you were in a party somewhere and there was booze flying around and lots of twerking, it's okay for once one or two of such pictures, but the minute it's an everyday thing, my next fear is, are you gonna show up at work drunk now? Because now I don't trust you. So make sure your page has a comfortable representation of who you are. That's also quite important. And then I know people say, but LinkedIn is a professional platform, so that should be the one that we look at the most. No, we also look at your other social media profiles, because those also speak to who you are as a person. And then what else? Sometimes, guys, sometimes you might have a particular career in mind, but life is happening now. So you need to get yourself into a company by taking any job that is provided. That is okay. But when you take any job, you must ensure that you do that job very, very well. It might not be the ideal job that you want to do, but do that job very, very, very well. Because sometimes companies have jobs that they have not shared with everyone. They're looking for a particular trait or a particular character trait for that particular job. And while you are doing the job that you don't like, by doing it well, you show the potential employees that you are able to function in a particular way, and you might get your ideal job that way. So when you get to a company, any company, when you take any job, make sure that you give it your all and you give it your best. That way you sell yourself also, and you might end up getting your ideal job way, way faster. And this is the last thing that I'm going to say. Manage yourself. The last thing is manage yourself. Manage yourself, how you show up at work, how you are dressed. You don't even need expensive clothes. Just put yourself together, how you dressed, how you communicate with people, how you show up with pleasure, honoring time, and just honoring the people that you're working with. Manage yourself. That way, it shows that you do take yourself very, very seriously. That is all on my side that I wanted to say. And now I want you guys to ask me questions, and we're gonna close this off roughly by 4 o'clock. So ask me questions. Ask me questions.
Hi, Sisi.
Yebo.
Unjani?
Ngiyaphila njani wena?
Ngiyaphila.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so mina usho ukuthi I already have an idea from gathering from hearing you speak. I am inspired and motivated. I have an idea as to exactly what, or more or less what I need to do. So a little bit of a background in a 7 years experience working in the banking industry. However, akuphelanga kahle, if I can say so. I ended up resigning 2019 due to the environment and, you know, my mental state not being, you know, not being at a good mental state. The environment was much of an impact that led me to resigning and so forth. So okwamanje, I'm at a better place. I'm actually looking for a job. But when I do look at my CV and when I do look at my job spec, in fact, active go LinkedIn, I've been stalking companies, as you say. So I do look as to what they're looking for in terms of skills and experience and qualifications.
Yes.
But mina esayidini lami ngisho ukuthi ngishawa a lot about qualifications. So I'd like to just maybe put it out there to maybe laba abanye that cannot say. I really do think that as women we need to be qualified in most of these big companies. Because I look at myself, I've got 7 years, but then absolutely no qualifications apart from e-metric.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
So what kind of job are you looking for next? What kind of jobs are you looking at?
I do feel ukuthi I'm passionate as a forensic investigator, so that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Whether be it in the banking industry or
Is
a
that what
normal
you were
company.
doing? Is that what you were doing in your previous
Yes,
job? Okay. So
yes.
how
Not necessarily forensic. Sorry,
so
it was not it was not a forensic as in an investigator, but I was doing admin for forensic team, if I can put it that way.
all right. So the experience that you have is that you're doing admin for a forensic team. So based on how
Yes.
you left your previous job, do you think that they'll be able to
Yes.
give you good reference?
Yes.
Okay, because one of the things that works well is to start with what you have, to use what you have to get your next job, so that when you then get your next job, you can then pride yourself in terms of getting the qualification that goes in line with what you want. You know? So for an example, currently
Yes.
you have
Yes.
ample experience in terms of admin and supporting people in the forensic department. So then where you
Yes.
start is you start with what you have. So you look at other
Okay.
banks, different to what the one that you have, or the same one in different regions and different
Yes.
provinces, because that's the other thing. I think people tend to be stuck in one province and not move around. So then what you do is you apply
Yes.
for a similar role that you had, and then you use that as your way to get in. And once you get into your new job, you then ensure that you apply for the qualification that's going to assist you to then get your ideal role, so that you don't find yourself stuck looking for a forensic-like role right now when the experience that you have speaks more to your admin. You know? And then also what you might need to do is, we call it skills mapping on our side, and everyone probably can do this, where every job that you've done, you guys must take paper, every job that you've done, then list all the things that you did in that particular job. List everything that you did. List everything that you did. We call it skills mapping, because it's going to give you an idea of what you can do. Then you're able to then see what things are in common in the different jobs that I have done. And then you list them by priority of top 3 or top 5, and you look for jobs that allow, that have those requirements in terms of tasks that needs to be done. Because I feel also abantu get stuck in titles, and find that you're looking for a title that's similar to what you had before, and yet in another company, what you did might be labeled differently, but the things that you do are the same. So then when you list your different,
makes sense.
when you list your different jobs and the tasks that you did there, it gives you an idea of what you can go after in terms of jobs. The other thing that you guys need to do for those that have qualifications, anything that you studied, list also what you studied, list it in detail. What did you study and what did you learn from it? That way, it gives you an indication of what you know and what you can do, so that when you look for a job, you are able to look for a job using those things. You know? Does that
All
help?
right. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes,
thanks.
it helps. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Another person? Any questions, guys? We are asking questions now. We've got 10 minutes left. Bulelwa,
Susie?
me? Bulelwa, please talk to me. Oh, is that you who just spoke to now? Just spoke to me now? Center administrator.
No, it's Lindy. Where's Susie? Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry, who else was going to talk? Oh, the question is about online applications. Upulela says, good day everyone. Dicela Osisi asking the online application, since now most of the departments are doing online application and now I always receive regrets. So Bulela, the online application differs from company to company. Ne? And one of the things that you need to do is just to pay attention to the questions that they are asking. Pay attention to the questions that they are asking. Do not skip any question and do not skip any bar. For an example, a lot of online application forms would have your name, your title, your surname, your ID number, or your date of birth, and then your contact number and your email addresses. Make sure that you remain calm. Don't panic when you fill in those online application forms. Ne? And then also an online application form is sometimes a copy of a hard copy type of an application process. Just that companies want that to be just to be easy for themselves in terms of collating the different CVs. So they create an online application form and then fill in all the stuff. Sometimes they ask questions like, why would you want this job? Like, what is your interest in applying for this job? Please respond to those questions in full sentences. Don't say, I'm unemployed and therefore I need this job. Don't say I need money. Just give a full motivation why they should employ you in that particular role. So don't skip such questions. Answer and respond to those questions. And then sometimes they will ask you to attach either your CV or your qualifications. Make sure that your CV is always close by. The best thing that you can do is don't use your mobile phone for online application. Use a desktop. And a desktop is a full-on computer or a laptop. If it needs be, go to an internet cafe. Do all of your applications in one day at an internet cafe so that you make use of attaching your files properly. When you are there, ask them to assist you if need be. But I'm going to ask you guys, be familiar with these things. You can use your phone to practice while you wait for other jobs. Use your phone to practice using online applications, because now the world has grown in terms of the global space that we're in. We use the internet and we use the more smartphones for everything. Go on YouTube and check how are applications done online. What do you need to pay attention to so that you're able to fill your mind with knowledge. I hope that covers you, Bulela. Any other question from another person? Okay, thanks, Sissy. Any other question? Are we all done? Before we say goodbye.
Susie?
Yes.
Mine is not a question. It's just something that is happening.
Okay.
Susie, I graduated in 2019. After graduating, can you hear me?
Lindy, is this Lindy?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yes, Emma.
After graduating in 2019, Susie, I got a job at a nursing college.
Okay.
I only worked there for 4 months. Like, I couldn't cope with the environment and everything.
Mm.
So I resigned. after that, I got an internship at the municipality, and then I didn't finish my term. I resigned also, like I couldn't just cope. Okay, 2021, I got another job. Remember, this is my third job now. I only worked for 6 months. I resigned. Like I couldn't get what I wanted in the environment until this year in Feb, after I got this part-time job that I'm doing now. So I feel like this is what I always wanted to do. So my mom, she's against it. Like my mom, she's against it. Like she's fighting me every day that I can't keep on resigning. But I don't know how to explain to her this thing that I'm feeling, that I think I don't belong to the 7 to 4 job kind of job. Like I really can't cope in that.
Find out the real reason why you're resigning. Because sometimes people sabotage themselves. Sometimes we get used to that lifestyle of struggle. To the point that when we get our first job, we self-sabotage so that we go back to our point of not having anything that is driving our lives. So sometimes we sabotage ourselves. Sometimes we resign for the right reasons, but we then create a pattern where we keep resigning even when there's no need, because we're just used to resigning and being lucky enough to get the next thing. The only problem is that the more you keep resigning, you are growing as a person. You'll get to another job or another role where resigning will now look bad, because girl, you've been resigning all of your life. Then you come across as a person who is not committed, someone who cannot be trusted because you can jump and go at any time. So it creates an imprint of an ideal of a person that is not you, or an idea of a person that is not who you want to be or how you want to be seen. So your mom is correct. Look, find out why do you keep resigning? Is it a matter of tough environment? Because that's the other thing. Doesn't mean that when a company makes you feel pressured, you can't handle pressure. Or
I think it's that I just can't handle the pressure.
Yes. So the minute pressure comes in, you cave in and want to give up. It's like someone who's climbing a mountain, and the minute it gets tough, you want to go back down. The difference is that the same energy and time that you took to go up is going to be the same that you're gonna take to go down. You're just gonna delay yourself even more. So find out, why are you resigning a lot? Is it truly the environment, or is it you not being able to handle pressure? And if you know it's you not able to handle pressure, find out the source of that, because sometimes there are things in our lives that we need to heal from. We use that language, or that we need to give context to. For an example, if I was a person who was bullied a lot in high school, as deeply bullied in high school, and certain characters were much more common in high school or in my high school life, and then I go to the work environment and I meet similar characters, I would cave in because I have not dealt with all of that trauma that I experienced when I was in high school. And therefore, when I get to work, I don't know how to handle pressure, or I don't know how to handle confrontations, or I don't know how to stand up for myself, and therefore I choose to resign. So find out the source, where is it coming from, and then challenge yourself in terms of being honest, where is it coming from? Because you can't keep resigning forever. And also, you're gonna be running your own business now, and you're gonna grow in your business. You don't want to be the person who drops your clients because you're feeling pressured as well.
Yes.
But again, well, now you've got me more, so we'll talk.
Yes, we'll talk, sis. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Any other person? Sulezu, I'm in East London, and I don't know why you have not said to me, Sis V, on inbox, Sis V, let's talk, let's have coffee, or let's, I don't know why you haven't done that. So, girl.
I'm sorry, but I would love that. So we'll speak and arrange something very soon. So hopefully you'll be available, but we'll talk about it since I've inboxed.
So you've learned to use your networks. It doesn't mean that you are using people, but it just means that you keep communication open in case they have something like they're able to think of you first. Yeah, one.
Okay. Yes.
All
Okay,
right.
sure, thanks.
No one asks questions. Are we done? I think we're done. Good luck, guys. Okay, so lastly, create your LinkedIn profiles because I find it quite easy to use them when I'm job hunting. Well, not job hunting, when I'm employee hunting, because now I'm an employee hunter. I use LinkedIn a lot, but also you get to hear what other people are talking about in your chosen industry, so that you learn the language of your industry. It makes it easy for you when you need to talk to people in the right places. So create your LinkedIn profile, create your PNet profile, and look for other recruiting companies that have an online presence, and find out how they receive applications. And then join groups on Facebook that speak about jobs or that post about jobs. I've also found that there are WhatsApp groups now that share jobs as well in different regions. So plug those. And then lastly, sometimes your community or your town might be too small for you and you might need to leave and go find a job somewhere else. So be that person who challenges yourself. Or sometimes employment might take too long for you because you might just need to start a business and challenge yourself even in that. So find out, have an honest conversation with yourself in terms of what can I do while I look for the ideal job, or where else do I need to go in order for me to find my ideal job. You know? So thank you for joining my very impromptu conversation. And that's cool, guys. And thank you so much. And I truly, truly, truly wish you all the best. You know?
Thank you, Zizi.
Okay, all right, you guys. Bye.
Bye.